just double check. Everybody talk a little bit. Talk.
Talk. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing A, B, C, D.
Oh, sounds good. Peanut butter toast. Keith Brooklyn here, and today I have Dalber.
Yes, we're looking too.
It's been a while, Dalber.
It's been. Thank you for inviting me and to share the Father's Day with your amazing parents here.
It's a special day because, yes, you cooked for my family, my dad and my mom.
My pleasure.
And we will talk more about that in the podcast. And you love your mom and your family. You're such a family person. And it was so gracious of you to come and cook us some arepas.
Yes, you're right. Arepas and Empanadas.
Oh my God. And I want to say our family, no, I think we'll talk about my family once that we bring them on. So welcome to Peanut Butter Toast. Peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter toast, peanut butter toast, peanut butter toast, peanut butter toast. Welcome, Mom and Dad.
Welcome, my baby boy.
Hello, Keith. Welcome. We're very glad to be here. Our pleasure.
Yeah, and they are so. Mom Kathy Freer and Dad Ken Freer is their names. we can say their names, right? Is
it's
their
good
son?
to know that we have names.
They have names,
not just
mommy and
daddy.
They they're not just here as mom and dad, even though it's Father's Day. They also are musicians, of course. We grew up in a I want to say this. Here's the analogy I was going to use. Our family growing up, so they were woodwind players, and then we played all the strings. My brother and my sister all played string instruments, and I kind of feel like we were like the feud, like the Hatfield and McCoys, the old Hatfield and McCoys, where they kind of feuded. And I think those are our problems. We got into lots of lovely arguments, except for when we played, it was peaceful.
And when we did a lot of family playing.
We did.
But a lot of why you played string instruments is because you all started when you were 4 years old.
Wow.
In fact,
Really
Keith
young.
actually started when he was actually
Too
like
young.
2.5.
That's why you are so talented.
And crazy.
And crazy.
The Hatfield McCoys. Do we all know the Hatfield McCoys? Because I once did this thing. Kind of a
Well,
cold
yeah,
reading.
most people know about them.
There's something about that, but that's not maybe necessarily the same. But I'm bringing it back to the theory of woodwinds versus stringed. But if we all played woodwind, it would have been more cohesive. It was beautiful.
We would have really gotten in a fight.
Oh, really? If we were all woodwinds?
I think so.
Oh.
What type of instrument do you play?
The kids all grew up with totally classical music. See, that's why Keith is stretching his wings to do more, because we were all classical.
So she plays clarinet, and Dad plays clarinet and what, bass? Clarinet?
Clarinet, bass clarinet.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
saxophone.
Yeah, we're both saxophone players also.
Players.
And
So-
that's what I've taught. Even though I taught in the schools, I taught instrumental music, our focus has always been clarinet and saxophone.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've had our interesting, it was interesting. And always, I mean, I don't want to focus on Bob, but I was always with her clarinet playing. And Dad knows too. She has an amazing clarinet playing, let's face it, right? She's very good.
Thank you.
So I was like her fan. And that was good, but that was, you were Mom, you were trained professional.
I was. I have 2 degrees in performance. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then she was going to go off, I guess, overseas to play professionally until my dad came along, I guess. Is that how the story went?
Yep, that's how it went.
So
Unfortunately,
she didn't
he came
take the
along.
gig. So so now she was stuck just teaching kids. No, I'm just kidding. Not stuck.
And having kids.
That's true.
Especially the middle one here. Yes, the middle one.
With that, I'm going to have that last sip of champagne that we were all having for our brunch today. So we did arepas and empanadas, and that was so cool. And that was kind of your first having that?
It was. In fact, I don't want to mispronounce that food you made today.
Arepas.
But I thought when he told us that you were going to come cook, this is just such a special. I mean, I know that he's very happy.
You got to
with
talk into the
special
mic.
Dad's
Talk
Day,
into the mic.
but I will have to admit that this is a special Parents' Day, you might say. I guess you agree with me.
Yes, very much so. It was an excellent, excellent dinner.
So what made it a family Parents' Day for you?
Well, spending the weekend with you, going to the show with you, spending yesterday.
Yep.
But you inviting a very talented cook to come and cook for us.
Oh, you have no idea about Dalber's talented.
You have a very, very good friend. Dad and I were.
He is you're engineer, chemical engineer, right?
Yeah, I'm a chemical engineer.
So that makes sense. He's good in cooking, I guess. He's good mixing stuff.
Yeah, recipes and everything.
Well,
yeah.
he could be a chef on the side without any problem, I think.
Hopefully, I can start a business probably. But yeah, to me, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to prepare and make all of everybody feel so happy today about that. I think that this type of celebration is to love each other and share. That is part of celebrate like a special day like today. That is the Father's Day. I'm very glad to hear that all of you enjoy what I prepare with a lot of love.
Definitely.
Oh,
definitely,
and then
definitely.
Yeah, what's up? Were you gonna say something, Deb?
No, just thank you for doing that and being with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Keith, for inviting me to have that.
I think you're the one that brought it up that you'd cook. That was so nice. Like you offered it like right off the bat.
I'm glad to do it, and we have to repeat more and more type of Venezuelan dishes. Why not? That is part of here. We're here discussing about different type of topic culture. That is part of your podcast. He always told me to talk about that dishes, different type of activities that we do in Venezuela. I'm glad also to share that here in your beautiful space.
Yeah, and that's of course why I love New York City, and that's because we get the diversity of so much amazing stuff. We really do. I mean, and to be able to cook some of the foods that you would eat every day.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, was part of that. And weekend, I prepared that to cook at home. How I told him is only arepas or empanadas, but I want to make it an special for you guys. Try both of them. Why not?
Right, right.
And you were telling us about the debate of Colombia or Venezuela, and so who originated?
The arepas history. That is a big fight between Colombians and Venezuelans. So we claim that the arepas belongs to Venezuela, and Colombians say that it comes from Colombia. And I always share the one thing that happened to me. I lived in Colombia for 3 years. My roommate there, who is a Colombian girl, she was surprised because I was prepping the arepa in the way how I cook it today. And she was like, "Are you doing that way?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And she said, "Because I always bought it, already made it." And I was like, "You dare to say that the arepa came from Colombia?" So now, see, since we were very young, they teach us how to prepare it. To us, it's very common. That is like the bread that we put on our table in Venezuela. When you're going to have like dinner or breakfast particularly, we eat arepas. To us, it's very common.
Well, peanut butter toast here, kid. This would be a good topic, Keith. I mean, think about it. What type of food did you grow up on? And you're saying that you prepared things that you grew up on.
Yeah.
I think about what Ken and I grew up on, and I hate to ask him what he grew up on. I hope it was something good. But in any case, it is interesting to find out and to do something different. It really is.
What were we talking about earlier about family cooking and like I don't know, there is a bond, and I guess we were just talking about today how when we were cooking, how I was like a little bit like not controlling, but we all want to do our thing, and but it worked out nicely.
How dare to say that you like to control all the cooking process?
No,
your father have an history about that.
We're kind of having a joke with that.
Like a little bit controlling? No. Tried to be very much controlling.
Because I
That
thought
pan is too small. Use this bigger square pan.
see square pan. I thought the square pan would be better, but it's not. But here I am, not the cook. But I gave it, and I gave the respect. But that's kind of the fun of. It was still good, wasn't it? It was still. Everybody took place, and even Dad helped prepare.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was
the
lovely.
fruits and the mangoes and all
Everybody
that good
was
stuff.
into everything, and we enjoyed everything. The fruit, everything was totally perfect.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. So okay. So what did we eat growing up? We did. I don't know. What was our
I used to
mainstay?
bake bread a lot. Do you
We
remember
did-
that at all?
You baked bread?
I baked bread. You know, one of your favorite things that had nothing to do with dinner? You always used to tell me when you came home, you liked my cookies.
You did your cookies. You
Oh,
did cookies.
yeah.
I was close to ask you that. What was his favorite
But
dish?
it is,
when he
but
was
it is
little?
funny. I do wonder. Like Dad and I eat right now a lot of fish dishes.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever made fish dishes for you kids when you were younger.
Yeah.
At least
I don't think
remember
we
that.
did. I don't think we did. Stroganoffs and the stuffed peppers.
Stuffed pepper. Oh, Dad and I
lot.
can't live without stuffed peppers. In fact, you can invite him over sometime, and I will make stuffed peppers.
Stuffed peppers.
I would love to try it.
So going back to Sunset, we on Friday we did Sunset Boulevard. And
Wonderful.
we saw Sunset Boulevard. That was really nice, right?
It was.
It was really impressive.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice
They-
to come in and see a couple shows. It really is. Live theater. Live theater is just wonderful.
And this one is very new. I think that it's been less than a year.
Yep, but it's ending in July. But it won all those Tonys, and Nicole won that Tony, and they not to get into like musicals. I'm not one to like analyze, but they broke the fourth wall a lot with and they take off their microphones. Like when they were checking out as an actor, as the person on the stage, they would take off their microphone as just to be like symbolic. It's interesting because obviously we're supposed to pretend they don't have a microphone, and it's like breaking the fourth wall. I don't know. It's interesting. The last scene, but I don't know.
And the jazz activity. I heard that last night you took them to the jazz
Boulevard. It's great. And he walks out. Oh yeah. So moving on, we anyway, we really enjoyed that though. I was really moved by that. We just went to a local, our local little shop.
Our whole life revolves around music. I hate to say it, but people will
little too
mention to
much.
us about sports, and we know nothing about sports.
No,
All we know is music,
no,
right?
no.
That's all we know is music.
Well, that is true. I tried to do a little basketball, but okay. So now, of course, they are here. That's a great segue. So they, I wanted to introduce this completely. I almost wanted to do a documentary on it. I really did, because most people are unaware of this. That you have class. We know there's classical orchestras. We have I don't know. What goes into the kind of rock world? The flautists, they do their jazz flute, and what was her name? What's her name? The singer who plays jazz flute too. She's a singer. Oh, what's Lizzie? Lizzo.
Lizzo.
Yeah, she's really good at jazz. And so you have choirs. You have drummers, I guess, and you even have brass quintets and stuff. I don't know if people don't all know the classical world, but I think even people in the classical world don't. I didn't know there's a thing called clarinet choirs.
That's right.
Clarinet choir that's known around the world. Around the world, Dalber.
There's clarinet choirs all over.
Talk to my dad.
In fact, we were telling you about that gentleman down in Peru,
a little
too.
closer there.
That gentleman down in Peru that came up here. I can't believe how many clarinet players are down there. I said, I wish that we had as many clarinet players up here as he does down in Peru, in fact. So
how did you meet him? How did you meet him in Peru? Is through your network?
We didn't meet him in Peru. Facebook.
So just a face. So see, they have a Facebook like network of the clarinet choirs?
We do. There's a good one in Russia. There's one in Belgium that in fact, that woman has come here to the United States quite a bit. We have a lot
Can you
of music
believe
for
that?
them.
Dad,
I mean,
and then Dad, tell us,
seriously.
Dad, you were saying that Cuba, that you were at one point communicating with someone in Cuba and somewhere else.
Just once or twice, it's a clarinet group in Cuba.
But even so, that's crazy.
The individual from Lima, Peru, Marco Manzini, is an excellent clarinetist, bass clarinetist, and we communicated on Facebook, and liked each other's posts, and then he offered to come up and spend 2 weeks with us in Syracuse, and our clarinet choir. We did like 10 concerts in 2 weeks, and one PBS concert with Marco conducting and playing with us.
And this clarinet choir we've got, I'm going to throw this in. We only have 14 people, but believe it or not, some of these choirs that we see on YouTube and that we communicate with, they'll have 30. I think one group actually had close to 50, didn't they? I think something like that. I mean, really big choirs.
Really?
We've always stuck with anywhere from around, we've gone anywhere from like 10 to 16 that was our biggest one at one point. But some of these choirs are huge. And I guess if your listeners don't know what choir is, we do go from the very small sopranino clarinet to the one that most people know in a regular band situation, to an alto, to a bass, and a contrabass.
I don't even know what sopranino. Sopranino?
A sopranino is a little clarinet. It's about 12 inches long.
Looks like a recorder, kind of recorder size.
Well, it's a very,
Sure.
it's like your high opera singer, basically. It goes very
at a high pitch.
Oh, it does.
Very well. You're a violinist. When you're down there, right at the, I'm trying to think what you call it. When you're down by your,
I don't know,
not at the top of your fingerboard, farther down where you're really high up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Higher
that's where the range would be.
So,
Yeah.
what country has the most clarinet choirs? Would you say?
I have no idea.
Do we
Do
know?
you have any idea?
I don't know. I don't know what country has the most clarinet choirs, but it seems like South America has a lot more clarinets, performers and groups playing clarinet. A lot of them might be quartets and duets and solo work, but it seems to be very popular. Down in
That's
Peru and
crazy.
Mexico, and I know Marco does a lot of traveling through all the southern countries and soloing and working with various clarinet groups.
choirs.
Yeah.
And
Really?
Yeah, well, I know I have a family. They also play violin and viola as
Really?
instrument. Yeah,
oh,
and some of them moved to Argentina due to the situation that we have been there in Venezuela. So, but they still playing them instrument and teaching kids to do it. Also here in the New York Orchestra, the new director of the orchestra is a Venezuelan guy. The name is Gustavo Dudamel. So yeah,
which orchestra here?
yeah, here in New York,
Do you
he
know-
just started
Do you know which one, or is it like a community, or is it like the symphony,
in the symphony. Yeah,
like the New York Philharmonic?
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gustavo Dudamel is very popular. Like
wow.
he has been orchestrating for many artists here. He was in the Super Bowl of Coldplay, orchestrating the orchestra there, directing the orchestra there
For Coldplay.
for Coldplay. Yeah.
I don't. Or they did a piece with the
No,
Philharmonic.
he was there. If you watch the video, he's totally there.
Oh,
He's
in
the
one of
director.
their videos.
Yeah. And
Oh.
also for Disney, and he has record for many artists like Billie Eilish, all of them. And now he moved from California to New York for the symphony here.
Oh, wow. Do you guys know the name or no?
No.
Gustavo
No,
Dudamel.
And it is New York Philharmonic, or is it another orchestra? It's New York, the
The
Philharmonic.
New York.
Have you
yeah.
been? Have you ever been?
I haven't.
I have not.
Oh, Keith.
Have
should
you?
go. You should
Maybe
go, Keith.
once. I don't. Have you? No, I have. When they played in Prospect Park, they
There you
did.
go.
Well, that counts for one.
Exactly. Too far from you, right?
So they down the street. There's Prospect Park.
There you go, Keith.
Have you heard them? Philharmonic? The New
In
York Philharmonic?
person?
No, yeah, if you listen, yeah.
No, we have a lot of recordings of them, but not in person. Yeah.
And the Boston Pops, I guess. Have you heard them? I don't think I think I have as a
Karen was just, your sister was just there at the Boston Pops.
Oh wow. But
Yeah.
that's crazy so not crazy, but also you go to Europe and there's a lot of violinists, of course, in Europe. What about Asia or well, that is Asia. Well, what
I
about
know one
far west, far east? I mean,
Vanessa Mai, she's a violinist.
where?
She's from Asia. I don't know if she's Japanese.
I mean, certainly Korea. I mean, I had, I always mention Sayon. She was on. She's South Korean. But clarinets, though. I want to bring back to clarinets. I wonder how you go to Japan, and do you have any connections there?
No, but I have some Asian students from China whose parents really have no idea what a clarinet was all about when they were growing up.
Oh,
But I will
right.
admit that one of our
Okay.
good friends from India
uh-huh.
actually came here and stayed here when he came to college because he had been
Yeah.
playing clarinet in India. But I think in India, there's much more Western music than there is in some of the Asian countries.
Okay.
So that makes a big difference,
Oh, I think well, we should play that clip, but not yet. Let's give it I want to give it a break. Let's first do some of the New York City questions. It is Peanut Butter Toast podcast for creative New Yorkers and beyond. And you are beyond, but you do stay in New York. You stay in the Hilton. Yeah, you and you've been to New York many times. So we should do some of the questions, but they're not going to be able to answer some of the questions. But I'm just curious. So you might be able to. Okay, so let's just do that now. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite pizza that when you've come to New York that you like?
Pizza?
Yep, favorite pizza. Do you have? I mean, you don't have to.
I don't know if I've ever bought a pizza in New York.
Oh, see,
I don't think we have had pizza here in New York.
see, this is terrible.
This is terrible for you. You haven't given any pizza to them.
I know.
In
Okay.
Chicago, we had Chicago pizza.
That's
when we
true.
lived in
How was
Chicago.
it?
Chicago.
How was it?
Chicago. Not good.
That Uno's.
Thick crust.
Not
Thick crust.
Uno's. No.
Uno's
don't
and
say
Duos.
Uno's.
But you know what? Uno and Duos is still there in Chicago. It is still there.
To me, it was very hard to eat that. It was like, it was a pie more than a pizza. It was like, no.
Have you ever been to Little Italy then? We were talking about, because
Here in New York? Yes.
we just real preference. We were eating the other night just last night at a really good Italian place right here down the street and go out in Red Hook, in the Red Hook area. We took them to Red Hook, this little isolated area, right? And it was really good Italian. And we were talking about how Little Italy's, I don't know if it's not so good necessarily.
Well, we were there with friends, about 3 years ago, I think, with Frank and Anne Marie.
Yeah, but not.
Did you?
Well, I guess
How was it?
We did have one meal there, but we were shopping in what's the Italian grocery store there? The real big one.
Yeah, my friend Anne Marie loves that Italy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That
That's the market, right? The market.
it's a market. Well, they have cafes in there too, but it is a commercial kind of place.
I didn't know
but
that's not just Italian though, right? Isn't it like lots of?
It's what?
Isn't Italy other foods? It's there's lots of different foods, right?
No, it's all Italian, and they have
Oh, well, then I'm
several little
learning.
small cafes there.
I mean, I'm not claiming to be a
But-
New York City
but-
expert at all.
yeah.
But so how was the food then? It wasn't so good in Little Italy, right? Compared to
Well,
last
no,
night.
it was good. It was good.
It was still
It
good?
was good.
All right.
Um,
And of course, my question about jumping a turnstile, since that would be zero. You wouldn't have. You'd have to grow up in New York, I think, to have jumped a turnstile. Some of my guests, everybody has a different answer about jumping a turnstile. And one,
to get on the subway.
yeah. So I want to, everybody has a different story, and from teachers to just a person. So one, my last guy, I'll just repeat it because it was actually a beautiful story. She was running late for her work. Her car didn't work. And this is before I think the iPhones could get you in, because now you just use your Apple Pay or whatever, Google Pay, to get on a train. So it wasn't working in the car. And she was
Or
running.
Omni.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah. But it was the old cars before. And it didn't work. She was running late. So she jumped the turnstile and then she ripped her pants. And the guy, some guy, I guess, said, "Hey, I had some spare pants or something." and it turns out she ended up marrying him. And that was the person. Isn't that a cute story?
What about this story?
No, that is a
beautiful
real New
Now
York
they do-
story.
now-
That has got to be a New York
Wow.
Yeah, we should have gone more into that, but that was amazing. That was Robin from last week.
Okay, I'm gonna start to do that to see if I find my boy.
That what?
If I get married with someone, just ripping my pants.
Oh my God. Like, so, like, I know, yeah, you shouldn't jump the turnstile, but come on, that story was amazing.
Keith, I hate to say it, but the only subways that we've ever taken was with you. I don't think Dad and I would ever have the courage to get on a subway without you.
Well, Dad would go. No, Dad would go.
Would you go?
Yes, he would get lost out west. He would get lost out west in the middle of nowhere.
I took the trains all the time in Chicago. I mean, running into the city in Chicago I grew up with that though, and there wasn't a subway, it was always a train. And
the L.
No, it wasn't just the L. I mean, from where I grew up, I can remember being in only 7th grade and my parents letting me hop the train 30, I mean, it was a long way from where Grandma and Grandpa lived.
Yeah.
And I would hop the train and go into the city myself. And nobody ever had a problem with it. But that was a train. It wasn't a subway. And it was a lot easier to know where you were going, So.
Yeah, the train in Chicago is less wild how it's here. Here is too wild. I think that it's not easy to, when you start here taking the subway, and to learn how
You
to
mean
go.
wild, like it's like just intricate, you can get lost, get in the wrong train.
Exactly. And many steps, and you have to go up and down and move to the sides. Many things.
Yeah, that's true. Subways, jumping turnstiles. What was my other? I'm gonna say Uber or Lyft or Yellow Cab, but you guys do Uber.
Yeah, Uber or cabs, either way.
Yeah,
you do both.
Oh, and
do you like to talk with the Uber driver?
Oh, that's a good question. That's right. That question. That's great, right? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, we're referring to a comedian who makes us a joke. Mateo Lane, right? Mateo Lane. Oh, he has a great joke on that. So do you talk to the Uber driver, or do you let them talk to you? Probably Mom would.
Yeah, we don't.
You got to talk into that mic though. Yeah.
We don't have lengthy conversations, but we certainly exchange
You'll
pleasantries.
talk because most New Yorkers don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know what? They used to be more talkative than they are now, I think. The couple that we took here while we were here this week were very polite, but not really talkative.
Yeah, here is a new culture. As less they talk, as highest they get a score. So if they don't talk to you, you score them 5-star. That's all.
Yeah, you don't want them to talk to you. I mean, although there's been times I've talked to them. Yeah,
no, I don't like to talk with them.
I get progressive sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was that one that was going to try to get on the podcast, and he was trying to make up, because they meet a lot of different people, and he was going to do a podcast, but he never did, and I lost his number.
That's too bad. Well, one of them this trip asked us where we were from, and I think when we told him Syracuse, New York, he was disappointed. That kind of ended the conversation.
Yeah,
I think he said that he thought we were from Germany for some reason.
Oh,
so we must have looked at German to him as standing on the curb.
And then he was disappointed. Oh, Syracuse. Oh, hey, we like Syracuse though.
Oh my God. Okay. I have some more random questions before we go back, because I want to hear the clip. Because you got to listen to their clip.
Yeah.
Their recent concert of I think 10,000 people. No, it wasn't 10,000, but it was still like
225, which was over capacity for where we were.
I mean, it's not filling up the stadium, but there's a lot of people that are going. And then, my friend Laurel, who also lives upstate, she says, because she's at the library there, and she says people really go to listen to the Clarinet Choir. Wait, one more question. Wait, no, let me finish this then. No, I want to ask the question on the Clarinet Choir. Do we know the evolution of it? Who started the first Clarinet Choir? Or is it just from years ago, decades?
Me? Oh, you mean the very first?
No, yeah.
Oh, all right. All right.
Who said, let's make a Clarinet Choir?
Here, way back in the 1950s. And this was somewhere
That's not that far back. We're not talking
No, it probably wasn't that far back. But I got to tell you, this would have been around when I was a kid at 56, 57, I went up to this, there was a clarinet factory up in Wisconsin, okay? And I met this wonderful gentleman, and I thought, oh, he's a nice old gentleman. And there were two of them, both nice old gentlemen, because when you're like 11 years old, everybody's very old, right? And what it turned out to be was one of them invented one of the clarinets that they still sell today, or put his name on it. The other one was one who wrote a lot of clarinet choir music, which in fact we play today. And you're going to ask me his name. And am I going to
No, I'm not
remember
gonna
it
ask you
tonight?
his name.
No.
I'm not gonna. I don't care about his date. No, I'm not saying that.
But he wrote an awful lot of music, and that was about the time that they actually had an alto clarinet that was.
But who
very
was so
popular.
they were already groups were already forming, and you're saying the 50s. So
The 50s were where they got very popular, and then got to be the 1970s, and you didn't hear anything about them.
So not like World War I or World War II.
No.
What about okay? Wait.
You know what World War I and World War II were?
What?
Saxophone days.
Oh,
Everybody either
this
had
is
a piano.
interesting.
They either had a piano at home, or they bought these inexpensive
And
C
jazz.
saxophones.
I mean, jazz. Wasn't that
Jazz
like
was
the
coming
big-
in, which is one of the things that what you want us to play will tell you why it is. You know.
Okay. That's true. That's well. Go ahead. Segue that in. So
All right, I'll segue it in real quickly.
Yeah.
1924. Oh,
So we couldn't connect the phone, so we're gonna have to just put it next to the mic. So sorry about the sound quality. Go ahead. It's blue. It's Rhapsody in Blue, right? See, we got to go past. No, keep it going. Because most people know the beginning. Keep it going. Just keep playing. Yeah. We have to go past that beginning part because most people know the beginning part, but they don't know this song continues. It's not United Airlines. Isn't that impressive?
It is.
Cool. Yeah. Of course, we have the piano, which is not a clarinet, but now it's what? No. A little bit closer. A little closer. All right. Can we jump ahead to the clarinet? Can you jump ahead a little bit to the clarinet? That's really nice.
About here we go.
Oh. Put it closer, the mic. What's that? Nice.
And we are lucky that the pianist is Robbie Padilla, who arranged this entire work for the Silverwood Clarinet Choir. For a clarinet choir. This obviously was a jazz orchestra and piano, and then Robbie, as you see, is an excellent pianist, arranged this for Silverwood, and
nice.
this is our first performance of the ensemble and piano.
Well, let me add on real quickly to that. Most people know Rhapsody in Blue with full orchestra. The full orchestra came later.
Uh-huh.
This is Gershwin's 1924 manuscript for jazz band, and he took it. In fact, along with our clarinet choir, there was a banjo player. We had banjo
playing there
and drums.
that night?
Yes.
That's
yes.
really cool.
But that's what Gershwin wrote it for. He did not write it for full orchestra. That was orchestrated later.
And not for clarinet choir either, but he had
not for clarinet, but this is from his 1924 original manuscript.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the thing, And,
oh, wow. And also, what about Louisiana? Because New Orleans, obviously clarinet, like that swooping clarinet sound. What's that called? That where they go up. Isn't that kind of jazz like New Orleans and stuff too?
Right.
Do other choirs in New Orleans? Any clarinet choirs down there or no?
Probably
like Louisiana?
not. They're too big a jazz town.
Too jazz.
They're a big jazz town.
Oh, cool.
But you got to realize that that's what Gershwin wanted to do, was combine classical with jazz. That was his whole idea. I think we should probably just
turn off now.
Yeah.
Because then. Thanks for sharing that. That was pretty cool.
It is beautiful. It's been missing nowadays with the new music. Like how she said, they should like combine the classicals with the new music because it's been missing. When you listen the current music around you, is a lot of vibes and different machine, not instrument at all.
No, that is true. Everything's just electronic.
But you know what? Just think about we were talking about singers. Think about all the groups today, though, that have violin and cello, and also you will see saxophone players, especially. So you do have a real mix of pop today with classical instruments.
Well, yeah, I mean, Beyonce uses a full orchestra pretty much.
Yeah.
Does Lady Gaga?
She does.
Yeah,
and she
they use
full. She plays on the piano.
I mean, they're not playing classical, but actually, Lady Gaga has a classical sense to her.
Yeah.
She was trained, right? I think opera. I think Lady Gaga was opera trained, I think.
Could be.
She grew up here in New York, studying music, and she plays her own instruments.
I was going to be their agent for the Silverwood choirs. The Silverwood choir.
You're going to be our agent, right?
And I was going to book them in New York spots. Remember I said that? I was going to book you guys to play.
Right, you're going to book us.
Play all over. You could,
I will.
The libraries.
I will go.
Keith would have put us on the street corners with a suitcase in front of us.
No, how dare you?
Oh no, you could have been playing with in the Brooklyn Museum, Beyonce and who's her
The
husband?
Lincoln?
No, Beyonce and I'm terrible with names. Beyonce's husband, rapper Jay-Z. Well, he had. Oh my God, I'm terrible. You know me.
Yeah, I know you.
But Jay-Z, he had his. They had the exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum. You could have had the clarinet choir right next to Jay-Z.
There we go. Well, the problem is, where would I put the 14 people if they didn't want to pay a hotel cost? Do you think you could put them all up, Keith?
Oh, come on, we could do it. We'll have the museum.
We can try here.
Oh my gosh. Silverwood Clarinet Choir, and we get to put a link. So I'll have to decide what link to put on the podcast. Either the YouTube or the Facebook. We only put one link. So
there you go.
Which link will we put? Which Silverwood Choir?
Probably www.silverwood clarinet.
The actual website?
Yeah.
And then that has all the links.
We have all the links.
Facebook.
And YouTube and stuff. I guess there was just a couple more minutes left. Actually, we only have a few minutes left. I always look at my notes. I had to print them out today. One says mom and dad.
Cute.
Was that in case you forgot us or what?
No, there were some silly things, but I think we could, almost 45 minutes actually.
Well, you know what,
So-
Keith? This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And meeting you and having dinner with you was absolutely marvelous.
Dalber.
Thank you, Emma.
this
It's
was
been my
Dalber-
pleasure
Dalber,
too.
Thank you again. Really, we enjoyed it so much.
Yes, I agree. Thank you very much. We enjoyed dinner and meeting you and chatting.
With a lot of love and same way.
Aw.
And thank you,
And-
Keith, for inviting us to talk
Exactly.
with you.
You're welcome. And I guess we'll keep enjoying the city and when you come to New York, of course, Mom and
There we
Dad.
go. Hey, Keith.
And
Maybe
what's up?
sometime you and I will play a duet or a trio with Dad, and we could put this on your podcast. There we go.
we're supposed to be playing something, I thought.
Sometime.
Wasn't I thought we were
Kevin,
putting
your
something together.
your brother is writing something for us.
Oh, is he? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll get that together and maybe we'll put it at peanut butter toast.
There we go.
I guess that's
Ooh.
it. That's
That's
it.
all.
I'm pretty tired. It took all that cooking took out a lot, I think. So and my questions I think evaded my head, so I can't remember any more questions. But I think that's it.
I'm glad that everything ends well.
Everything ends well. Bye and bye, Mom and Dad, and happy
Bye.
Father's
Bye.
Day.
Bye.
Well, we're not leaving quite yet, Keith.
No,
Yeah.
no, but we are. but we are now.
Oh, okay. Bye-bye.